So, we're in the woods. I'm here to talk about the ones who live. So let's get started. If you've watched The Walking Dead, it's called Gimple Speech. Now, Scott Gimple is the current showrunner of the Walking Dead universe shows. And basically, it's very cringy dialogue where it's like quotes like that you'd read in a book. It's not something that you'd say with authenticity. So, like in the last battle between Michonne and Thorne in the Ones Who Live, she goes, "Love doesn't die. In a dead love, world is dead." And it's just very poor. It's not even the performances. The performances in the show are amazing. If you've watched Andrew Lincoln in The Walking Dead, he is just the same as he is here. The performance from him is amazing. Denai Guerrera did amazing. Everybody did very good with their material. And a main shout out is to the guy who played John Okafor. He's a very Denzel Washington-like sort of actor in this. And he does an amazing job. And it's a shame that they put his character to waste so quickly. We're going to talk about the character development, stuff like that now. So, Rick he's a lot more fearful now. This is worse now than when he experienced the Negan battle with the Saviors in season 7 and 8. He's a lot more fearful and ends up chopping off his own arm in the very first scene. And it is a very, very intense scene. The cinematography has really upgraded in this show compared to the main show. It looks like they've put a whole lot of money on this, and it really pays off. Like, if you're going to criticize anything, the one thing you can't criticize is the cinematography and how they filmed it and the lighting. It's all perfect when it comes to that. But the main letting down of the show is the writing. If you're wanting to see a good finish for Michonne and Rick's story and the whole Walking Dead like universe, this isn't the show that you're going to want. If you're wanting to watch the show at all, watch the first 4 episodes and just have it where it's left like that, and then leave it up to your own mind. That's my opinion. But the last 2 episodes just lay it all down. It's just very poor. Because it's just very boring. It's a very boring ending. You sat down for an hour and you're just seeing all these coincidences happen. How does one person believe that this action is going to take place? And you're asking them sort of questions while you're watching it. Like, how is this person thinking this way? And it just makes no sense. The direction is also fairly poor too. Every single scene, and I mean every single scene, has to end on some sort of dramatic cliffhanger onto the next scene, and you never really get a chance to catch your breath. It feels like you're watching a story where it's just constantly like making you more tense. But like when you finish the show and you realize how big of an organization it is, the CRM I'm talking about, that it doesn't really feel that like all the tensity is relieved, and not in a good way, because what was the whole point of this series and this fear of the CRM if they're not such a big threat? So the dramatic tension that it builds across the series and the ending of scenes being so dramatic, it ends up building to nothing. It feels like you're unfulfilled watching the show and you're not getting your money's worth, or you feel like you've lost your time. So at the end of the day, I just think it's a very disappointing show. I'd only recommend watching it if you're very invested in The Walking Dead. But even then, it's just a very disappointing show. I've watched all of it, and I had to watch it a second time for this video, and it just made me realise how many more mistakes they made. And I don't think I want to rewatch it again. I'd give the show overall something like a 6 out of 10. I'm giving it good. I'm giving it like a good rating because it does do some things right, and the first four episodes are really good. But the last two really let it down. It could have been a 10 out of 10 if they sorted out the dialogue a bit more and made it a bit less, made the CRM more of a threat. And then the ending of scenes being very dramatic would have felt earned, but they don't when you get to the ending, and just makes you feel like, what was the point of watching this show?